Hey, everybody, and I wanted to say hello to you all as I review the upcoming Shout and Scream Factory release of John Carpenter's Vampires. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, Shout and Scream Factory, they do some of the best DVD, Blu-ray releases around when it comes to genre films. They get some of the older, more obscure titles. I just did one on fangirlmag.com or Fangirl Mag's YouTube channel for this movie, which is called Fear No Evil. This came out in 1981. I'm like one of 5 people that remember what this is. So they do obscure stuff, but they also do some more well-known things that came out previously on Blu-ray and DVD, but they do special editions. And the one that I'm talking about today is John Carpenter's Vampires. Now, this is a fantastic movie. If you've not seen this, this was released in the late 90s. And it's one of those kind of movies that is so not PC that they probably wouldn't be able to make it here today, 20 some odd years later. It's coming out on September 24th. And the other thing that Shout and Scream Factory do for their releases is that they release extra goodies with them. So if you pre-order, you're able to get things like posters. For example, this is not the original artwork that the movie poster had on it. The movie poster was actually this. This is the other cool thing about their releases. You get a sleeve that looks like this, which has their new artwork on it, but you can take it out, flip it around, and you'll have the original releases artwork. So this is what the movie poster originally looked like. This is what they did for their release. So for this release, they actually did a limited edition poster of that new artwork, but that is sold out for pre-order. So it's, as you can tell, it's a John Carpenter movie, so people love it. But also, it's just a really great film. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about what Vampires is and who's in it. So this, as I said, came out in 1998. And so it's about 21 years ago. Wow, time flies. So James Woods is the star of this movie, and he is a complete badass in this as a vampire hunter named Jack Crow. He's your typical anti-hero, the kind you don't really see as much today. And by anti-hero, I mean like anti-hero. He is not a nice guy. He wants to kill vampires. That's his whole goal in life. He doesn't care how dirty and gnarly it gets. He mocks the church who pays his bills. He doesn't really give two shits. And that's Jack Crow. Daniel Baldwin, Cheryl Lee, Thomas Ian Griffith, who plays this badass here that you'll see on the back. He is the original vampire. And then you have also Tim Gunny, who is just, I never realized just how many things this guy has been in. And then when you realize who he is, he changes in like every movie he's in. He's like a morpher. It's crazy. So the first 10 minutes of this is some of the coolest shit you're ever going to see. They use these crazy crossbows. They hook winches onto these vampires using the bows and things, and pull them out into the sunlight, which is what you're seeing here, so they can fry in the dark in the daytime. They're just a brutal team of vampire killers. So you find out that this guy here, who I said was the original vampire, he rises up, and he is such a badass that he manages to decimate the entire team in the most brutal, gory, just flat out, awesomely bloody way. It's just a fantastic beginning of the movie. It just establishes everything right away. You know who's the badasses, you know who's able to defeat the badasses, and you know who he is right away. So the movie is quick, and it also, as I said, it's Carpenter. So it's not only is it well shot, well done, down and dirty, but it's also got some amazing music because he's doing the soundtrack, and it's very Western. So it's very Carpenter Western, like Texas rock kind of a thing. And it's just great. It's got some great just tunes to it. And it just fits perfectly with the aesthetic that's very Western that Carpenter establishes with this movie. So this release, it just looks amazing. It looks so good. And what's great about, as I said, if you aren't familiar with Shout and Scream Factory, you should be if you're a movie fan. And the reason I say that is they give you all sorts of special features. So if you look here, it's backwards, but you can see that that is not a small amount of special features. Um, they get interviews with the stars and the directors and the producers of these movies that are new. And in this one, you've got James Woods, you've got Sandy Carpenter, you've got John Carpenter, you've got Thomas Ian Griffith, you got Tim Gunny, you got the cinematographer, and you get Greg Nicotero, who you may know from his work on The Walking Dead, as well as everything else. Greg did the special effects makeup. K&B Effects did that for this movie. And it is some of the greatest, coolest, most subtle, beautifully done vampire work I've seen in a while. It's really great. They look like weirdly like snakes in some ways. Carpenter describes them as very rat-like. They look like vampires, which is what they're supposed to look like. This also gives you audio commentary with John Carpenter. You get an isolated score, so you have the music. And then there's the original making of featurette for it and the trailer. But the interviews are what's great because you get to hear insight into making this movie with James Woods, who is very verbose and interesting guy. Had his own, he even talks about the PC culture, of course, that you probably wouldn't get this movie today, at least not in the way they were able to do it back then, where it's just in your face. There's unapologetic anti-heroism. He doesn't want you to like him. He doesn't give a two shits if you like him. And he's the guy you're supposed to be rooting for, but he doesn't care. He's not a nice guy. So it's really great to watch. And I like that. I like there being a gray area for your hero. He shouldn't be perfect. He shouldn't. And what's interesting here is there's also a very large, it's, they aren't kind to the church, even though one of the heroes that one of the hero, the guy that Tim Gunny plays, is a priest. You find out the church is not all the hymns and super good people in this. So it's an interesting take on it, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I really do believe that you probably wouldn't. Even Carpenter says it in this. You probably wouldn't get this movie made the same way as it was in this, in today's climate, because it's unapologetic, and I like that. It's a really great movie if you love just action, vampires, horror, great music, good acting, neat story, different take on the vampire genre. This is a great film. So this is coming out September 24th on Shout and Scream Factory. Even though you can't get the poster now, you can get the DVD still, a Blu-ray pre-ordered on the website. So go to shoutfactory.com or screamfactory.com. And you can find it on there. I definitely recommend it. It's one of my favorite vampire movies of the last 20 years. It's called Vampires, and it's by John Carpenter. What do you want? So I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely go check this out. It looks great, too. Like I said, they really do a good job on making the films look good when they do Blu-rays. So I can't say enough about Shout and Scream Factory. They do good work. And when you get on their website, if you've never been, just prepare your wallet because you're probably going to spend some money if you're like me and you can't help it. It's just there. They also do really neat releases where they'll do exclusive action figures and Mego style dolls of things. Like they just did one for Night of the Creeps with Tom Atkins doll that you can get, which is great. Tom Atkins is the man. So with that, guys, thank you. I hope you enjoyed this. Go check it out. Once again, that's the cover. They're pulling her out into the sun to burn. Yes, yes. So with that, guys, again, thank you. Hope you enjoyed this. Comment below. Let me know what you'd like to hear more about. I will be back with more reviews, more goodies for you, and hopefully maybe a couple interviews. We'll never know. We'll see. So thank you guys again, and see you later on Zinni 62. Bye.